imagine a classroom filled to the brim with students, not working at textbooks or on papers, but instead working at different stations. Some are learning how to sew, some are learning how to balance a checkbook, and some are creating a wonderful aroma in the kitchen, learning how to cook for the first time. Yet in most schools, this just isn't the case. Schools are currently having a problem finding the funding to keep and or start FCS programs in their schools, causing many programs that are existing to be dropped. Currently throughout the United States, according to statistics gained during a survey done by Carol R. Porterham, the number of students enrolled in FCS classes has decreased by 38% in the last decade, from 2006 to 2016. While half of the states reported a current shortage of FCS teachers, making it more and more appealing for these programs to be cut due to budgeting issues. Let's see. I believe that with a stronger budget and fixing some of the issues such as lack of educators and the amount of mandatory testing being reduced, this issue could be fixed. So in this speech, we're going to go over the skills that are exclusive to FCS classes that make them worth having in schools, how to fix the problems of lack of educators, along with the amount of mandatory testing being reduced, the current programs that are working towards fixing these issues, and how these skills can help the future generation. We'll begin with what skills are in these classes that make them more important to have a larger budget. So most of these classes teach skills that help students in real life, and you really can't find most of these skills in other classes around a school. According to the American Association for Family Consumer Sciences website, these courses provide the following skills: human development, personal and family finance, housing and interior design, food science, nutrition and wellness, textiles and apparel, and consumer issues. Basically, in short terms, it's stuff like cooking, how to make clothes, financial sorting, that kind of stuff. Yet you would think, with how much is discussed, the number of students in these classes are dropping, that not many students are still in these classes. Well, also from the AAFCS, approximately 5 million secondary students are currently enrolled in these classes across the US. That's basically students from junior high up to high school. 5 million of them around the country. Yet you gotta wonder why these classes being dropped. So without these classes, what are some of the alternatives that could happen? But without the skills in these classes, many students are ill prepared for real life, leading to continued support of unhealthy social norms. According to an article published by Joanne Pan for Taste of Home magazine titled "The Vanishing Home Economics Class and What We Stand to Lose," skills like cooking that are taught in these classes, when not taught at home, can have a huge effect on their home life. If a family doesn't cook at home, statistics show that houses spend 43% of their food budget eating away from the home in 2012, with that percent raising to half in 2014. That's a lot of eating out and a lot of money spent on that. Along with that, only a quarter of a family's food budget goes towards wholesome foods, those that need to be prepped or prepared. So things like milk, vegetables, breads, and that kind of stuff that can be made into full course meals at home. That is already a big issue in and of itself, as that means we're relying heavily on fast food, and fast food, of course, is one of the leading causes of obesity. So what problems have caused these programs to be uprooted or not even established in the first place? Well, some of the current issues affecting these classes include a lack of educators that are qualified and the large amount of mandatory state and district testing required in schools. Statistics have found in a survey titled "Family and Consumer Science Secondary School Programs, National Survey Shows Continued Demand for FCS Teachers. Half of the states in the US are currently or will face a future shortage of FCS educators. So we're already having issues finding educators in the here and now. Yet, on top of that, in that same survey, the numbers also show that the amount of teachers has dropped by 26% in a time frame between 2006 and 2016. So not only are we having problems finding educators to fill these holes, many teachers have dropped from the workforce entirely. That's an issue in and of itself. Along with that, most schools require a ridiculous amount of mandatory testing both at the state and district levels. According to statistics from an article written by Eric Roblin for The Atlantic titled "How Much Testing is Too Much?" Students spend, on average, spend 10 days taking district mandated tests during the school year and 9 days taking state mandated tests, the teachers estimate. That's already over nearly a month's worth of school time used just taking these mandatory tests. On top of that, the time spent by teachers preparing students for these tests are, and I quote, on average, teachers estimate spending 14 days preparing students for state mandated exams and 12 days for district mandated exams. That's 26 days just prepping these students alone on top of the near 3 weeks used to take them. That's a lot of time that could be used towards elective classes such as band, arts, and of course FCS classes. So cutting the amount of mandatory tests could help ease the burden, yet what do we do about the lack of educators? Well, there are currently 2 programs in place, Say Yes to FCS and FCCLA, that could help sort this problem out. Say Yes to FCS is a national program run by FCS educators to help recruit new teachers into the field. According to the AAFCS program website, the program is, and I quote, designed to support and advance existing educator recruitment initiatives and provide models and assistance for new efforts. Basically, they help double down on already existing recruitment methods, along with helping fund and support brand new ones to reach out to even more FCS educators than ever before. Along with this, FCCLA, or the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, also helps students that are currently in high school become interested in being an FCS educator. Family Consumer Sciences, or FCCLA, is also one of the only student-led organizations with family at its central focus, making it one of the perfect programs to go with FCS skills. Through this program, along with leadership skills that they'll pick up, many of them help students learn the value of FCS classes and help teach them how they become an FCS educator. Coming from the program's website, they signify their importance with the following. Since 1945, FCCLA members have been making a difference in their families, careers, and communities by addressing important personal, work, and social issues through family and consumer sciences education. Basically, through these programs, students learn a lot of the skills that FCS classes provide and learn how to teach them to the next generation, having plenty of opportunities to learn how to become an FCS educator and hopefully an FCCLA advisor. So with all this in mind, imagine a whole new generation that has been taught these skills from high school before they even go out into the real world. I can use myself as an example for this. I won't lie. Before taking these FCS classes starting sophomore year, I was never good at financial management, cooking, any of that. And through these classes, I learned how to balance a checkbook, how to start a savings account, learning to cook certain meals like stir fry and the like, and learning how to sew and mend clothing. Just imagine if a whole generation of students learned these skills and didn't have to rely on things like YouTube or self-knowledge to have these skills. Imagine it being part of the school curriculum. That sounds great, right? So in conclusion, with all this in mind, what have we learned today? FCS classes provide skills that can't be gained in many parts of school life. Lack of educators and lack of times for classes like this can be resolved to help these classes better succeed in the environments they're in. There's already a few programs pushing towards the advancement of these programs and to help with the shortage of FCS educators. And if a whole generation of students learn these skills before entering the world could be a better place. So I do believe with just a small increase to funding for FCS classes, the wonderful skills and experiences provided by them could impact the world in a wonderful way. Why leave the next generation in the dark of these vital skills to real life? Help the next generation thrive. Support funding for FCS classes today.